Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to the last episode of pYanodon's Season 3, before we do the Auto Mall stream. But again, this is going to be coming out after the Auto Mall stream actually happened, because that's just how it's gonna have to work. Because I couldn't do freaking, what's it called? I couldn't release like 10 hours of pyanodon's for you guys in 3 days. That just didn't feel fair. So here we are. You know, I could add red loaders to this. That could be smart. Probably not needed still, because I don't know. Anyway, that's my stone recycling. So I've heard some unfortunate news, which is something I thought we had checked, but I guess not. It seems particle accelerators okay, now I'm actually confused. Because I was just told allowed effects that particle accelerators don't allow efficiency beacons. Like, it doesn't do anything. But what I'm seeing here, allowed effects consumption true. I thought that that is what defined. Let me pause real quick, 1 second. All right, I don't know. I've put the question out in the ether. See if I get an answer. Because it seems like they can be affected by productivity. Also, this is building up a lot faster than I thought it would. So I've got two things I need to do, I guess. One of them is figure that out, because it's going to be an issue sooner rather than later. And the second is an idea that, who was it? Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't remember who it was on the Discord. Might have been Oodles. Someone had the idea of taking one of the 400-hour plutonium rocks and putting it somewhere special and setting up an alarm for when it spoils if we make it to 730 hours. And I thought that was a great idea, so we're gonna go do that right now. 'Cause I think that's fun. I just think it's neat. I'm gonna craft more shotgun shells here. Haven't done handcrafting in a while. Isn't that a nice feeling? All thanks to the Auto Mall. I mean, the Auto Mall and the Bot Mall is also a big part of that. It's not all just in the Auto Mall part. Okay, so we need a single rock of 239 is the 400-hour one. And then what's that? Chemical science. We made our first chemical science. Look at it. It's gorgeous. Oh, look at it go. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, well, chemical science is running. Good for us. I am gonna add, I think, one more building, because I added the prod modules. So I think to get the rate that we want, we need one more building. Because I added 5, but then we slowed them down. So the actual output's only 206 there, and we needed 24. So that should actually be just about exactly what we want here. And that'll have to be changed to channel 1 here in a second, once that arrives. Which I imagine it will arrive soon. Oh no, sorry, the Auto Mall's over there. Okay, here it comes. And yeah, I think particle accelerators can be affected by efficiency based on what we're seeing here, but someone told me specifically they can't be, so that's why I'm confused. Because I thought allowed effects told you what Well, but see, that says productivity true, and productivity, well, but I think a productivity beacon would work. You just can't put productivity modules in beacons. But if there was a beacon that allowed you to place productivity modules into it, I think this would allow you to get productivity received as an effect. So I'm not sure. It's Kieran in the Discord. They're gonna check on it. We could also check it in the editor. Why don't we just do that? We'll just check it in the editor. Particle accelerator. What's an easy recipe? There. Do that. Infinity chest on Nexilite plate and on spent Nexilite battery and remove unfiltered items, and we do that and that and this and this. Okay, and then we need a diet beacon, and then we put in efficiency modules, and it's not consuming less. Interesting. Okay. Well, seems that is accurate, unfortunately. So where is that? So then I've misunderstood what this means. Where would we find? Is it allowed module categories? Is that it? Because it also says productivity. So yeah, I'm actually a little confused now on how to know what allows what. To be fair, most buildings in the game can use speed and efficiency, and it's just a question of whether they can use prod or not. And since prod is only ever here, we can just see whether it can use prod modules in the building. So it's not too big of an issue. This is probably one of the only buildings that does this even. But I am curious, like, okay, well, we can see there that consumes less fuel. But is that because the building itself can accept efficiency modules? I guess I'm not fully understanding in the recipe or prototype explorer here what allowed effects means. Because I assume this was allowed effects like from a beacon. And that's clearly not true in the case of particle accelerators. There's gotta be something in here that would have told me. But brownie points to anyone that can figure this out. Why could we not know, or how could we have known that efficiency modules in a beacon wouldn't have worked in a particle accelerator? So that says consumption true, which is where I would have assumed to have found the beacon effects. Because buildings can be affected. Actually, you know what? This might not be true. Here's a good question. Can beacons ever apply an effect that isn't in the allowed module categories? Maybe allowed effects has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. That could be unrelated to beacons entirely. It could be that beacons use the exact same list as the building itself. I kind of need, is there a debug beacon that allows me to put prod modules in it? Because that would actually help me figure this out. It seems there's not. There is a super beacon, which allows productivity. Perfect. Okay. So this will allow us to maybe test some of our theories. So if I put prod in here, we can see this one does receive productivity. This one does not. Okay. So that's actually leading me towards believing that beacons can only ever add the same type of effects that the building can already add in its own allowed module categories. No, because this does say productivity for the building. Productivity is on here. And allowed effects is also true. Yet, the recipe doesn't allow productivity. So is that why? I assume all the recipes don't allow productivity, though, because they're all made... This one says it's affected by productivity. Okay, so productivity is a recipe by recipe basis. Oh, consumption can go higher. Oh, I think I get it. Okay. So, oh, I get it. Okay. And you might get it too now, since I said that. So, what it means by allowed effects is that it's allowing consumption to be an effect that it receives from beacons. But that could come from any sort of modules. That could come from prod modules, that could come from speed modules, that could come from efficiency modules. So what it does is it kind of cross-compares these lists. If there was a productivity module that made something use less power, that would actually work on this beacon and the particle accelerator, if that makes sense. But because speed modules and prod modules only increase power usage, it's basically saying, yes, we allow the power increase. But since effectivity or efficiency isn't listed here, it doesn't allow the decrease in efficiency to be part of that consumption value. I'm pretty sure that's the sum total of what's going on here. Okay. That's actually really helpful now that I know all that. Okay, cool. Back to the real world. What are we doing here? So... I'm not really sure, but I think this is where I'm starting. And we've got our alarm still forward. Now we'll say if anything's greater than, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000. This can hold 20,000 items. But the ratios, we're always going to see 242 first, because that's the 100-hour decay time. We're using all the 240, and the 239 we're going to use up in fuel rods sometime soon. And I'm imagining when we want a few more fuel rods, what we'll do is we'll bite the bullet and we'll spend a little bit of plutonium peroxide, and we'll use up all of our 241. Or no, sorry, we'll do this one. Because this will make more 239 without making more 240. And then at that point, we'll end up with more fuel rods, more 239 for fuel rods. And then we'll have 241 as our kind of waste product. Which ironically is the one that spoils in 10,000 hours. So that one will last forever. And eventually we can turn it into americium 241 once we get high 3 science. But that's a ways away. Isn't there a nuclear that we unlock in ChemSci? Maybe it was uranium processing. No, that's also pi 3. Okay, I was wrong about that. I thought there was something in ChemSci we got for the nuclear stuff, but I guess not. Okay, so anyway, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Get rid of some stuff here. What were we doing? Actually, I have no idea. base is struggling with power. That's not new. What else is new? We're waiting for modules to spin back up. This is waiting on a prod module that is now running. So there's our 5.256, but it's using less ingredients. Look at that, than the original build, which is using 1 organic acid anhydride. This is only using 99% of the ingredients. We're saving 1% and making more. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Wait, shouldn't that be 264? It's 240 times 1.1. 0.24 times 1.1 times the crafting speed of 0.75 times the number of buildings, which is 6 instead of 5. Oh, I definitely did something wrong. That says 2376. I do have 6 buildings. Oh, one of them doesn't have a module in it. That's why everything's wonky. Okay, never mind. Once that one gets a module, it will be about right. Okay, I really should have put it on my list. There was something I was going to look into, I thought, at the beginning of this episode that I didn't take care of. Oh, it was urea to blood. I found this out after the episode. I had screwed up urea to blood. I hadn't connected the power. I had put these power poles here, but this one wasn't there, so they weren't connected. So this whole last time, we've been wasting blood. This thing was filled up, which means there was blood we were wasting that could have been urea, which is such a bummer. This 20, that would have been so much. That would have been 25,000 urea that we could have made. Which is crazy. Okay, so anyway, this is making urea, which then is getting loaded into this guy. And this is urea from blood provide. And now, how much can this urea to ammonia handle? This can handle 16 a second, so I don't think this is going to be the issue anytime soon. In fact, I'm really far away, but I'm going to go fix it manually because I don't want to have issues. By the way, I did do a little bit of off-camera Hellmod deep diving into nuclear power. I was curious about MOX fuel and if we could efficiently power our base with MOX fuel cells right now. At this point, we can't yet. Just because it's too much uranium. And it's a lot of heat, or heat turbines. What are they called? Are they called turbines? Steam turbines. What are they called? Have we not unlocked them yet? Yeah, we haven't unlocked them yet. Steam turbines, yeah. These guys only make 125 megawatts apiece. So it's 8 per gigawatt, which doesn't sound like a lot until you think about the fact that we're looking into making 10 or 20 gigawatts, and that means 80 of them. So you do need a lot of them, but to be fair, in pyanodon's terms, 80 of those is not that big because they're small buildings. You know, they're only like 3x5 or something. So it's not that big to build that out. So I don't know, I might do that at some point. Anyway, I'm going to move this over so that we can get this unloading a little faster. And then we're going to bump up the request here for urea to 45 stacks. Okay, not 45. Just 42, I guess. And that way we can get that going. And then the rare earth is at 22. Let's bump that up to 24. Okay. And then we'll get that urea processed into ammonia. And then this ammonia should be provided at low priority. Being provided at 0 priority. I guess that's fine. We just need to find our other ammonia providers that are more byproducty and make sure those are higher. So providing that is this one. So we're going to ignore this one. Cyanic land. See, that has a priority of 1, so that's a higher priority for the ammonia made there. Is that what we want? I think so, because that's the one made from coke and stuff, and that feels kind of free. And then those are the only places that provide ammonia. Ouch. No, there's this one. Ammonia from organic solvent. And this is the highest priority ammonia. You know, once we have the recipe that we get very soon to make acetone from cumene, which comes from strip distillates, I might void organic solvent for the purpose of making ammonia. I mean, will that just become the new best way to make ammonia? Like, period, full stop? It might be. I kind of have to decide if I want to do the molybdenum version or the version... Wait, what did I just say? Or this version. No. What did I... Where's the organic solvent one? This one. Yeah. So I kind of have to decide if this is the way that I'm going to make ammonia or if I'm going to do it the other way, which was the... I mean, we'll always have the backup of this one as like a slow trickle. And then we'll have the backup of some urea trickling in. I guess the question is, do I get other ways to make urea soon? I don't think those are real, so no, these are the only ways we have. We've unlocked all of them. So yeah, I guess the question is, how hard is it to make the blood for urea? Because the Zogna method of urea is almost always going to be worse, I imagine. Maybe? I don't know. Is that worse? It's probably worse because of the manure. So 100 ammonia is going to require... Let's just imagine AUG food was free and we were making it that way. Even then, 100 ammonia a second is going to require 31 AUG pens. And that's with a recipe I'm not even using yet. Yeah, that's pricey. We can prod module and will prod module the liquid manure. That's news to me. We can prod module. In fact, we can prod module every step of this process, which helps. But I can prod module that version too. So that cancels out a little bit. So this acetone version is almost certainly going to be cheaper in the long run. Let me just make this its own block. So acetone from cumene from stripped distillates. And that, we already know what that comes from. And we'll just preemptively assume we've got our Mark II buildings and yada yada yada. Okay. And the strip distillates processing is in a different spot, so we'll just ship in the cumene and the syngas. And the syngas, yeah, we'll just have that shipped in. We have lots of ways to make that later that we looked into. But the main thing I want to think about here, I mean, we'll probably do like a 3-3 for this, maybe. Yeah, that feels about right. That saves a gob of buildings. Okay, so something like that. Should our phenol be... No, these are almost two separate plants. We're going to do phenol separately from acetone, which means we're going to need a byproduct usage for acetone too. Should it just always be this one? That's another question. Should it always be this one, or is there other stuff we should do with byproduct acetone? It seems mostly... I was gonna ask if that ratio was the same. That uses way more phenol. There's this one. But that's not unlocked till prod. Okay, never mind. And then that is separate. Yeah, never mind. So, yeah, this is the only thing we can really do with extra acetone. So what we'll do is this will be our primary phenol production. All acetone that is byproduct will get used for this, but also this will be a request for acetone. So we'll have kind of a two-priority system where we'll have one train station that's asking for acetone at a high priority to make ammonia. But then once the ammonia is backed up, it'll stop. But then there will be another train station that's on channel 2 requesting ammonia. And that one will, requesting acetone. And that one will allow us to make more of this. Basically what I'm saying is, when we have more acetone that comes in on channel 2, we will get rid of the organic solvent to push through more ammonia. If we're stocked up on ammonia and organic solvent, we won't run this recipe. There's no reason to. Though, should that ever happen? I mean, there's good things we can do with ammonia, right? So I feel like we should just never do that. I mean, ammonia by itself doesn't really do a ton. It kind of makes cyanic, but I already have, I don't know. Requires colon methane. Ammonia by itself, oops, doesn't do, oops, I deleted the wrong one there, didn't I? I think it's more the organic solvent that can do stuff by itself, or yeah, olefins, which will soon come from aromatics, so we'll definitely do that. I could combine it with seaweed and hot air if I have extra seaweed and extra hot air. That's basically all organic solvent does as well. Okay, so there's not a ton you can do with organic solvent. It's really just the fatty acids, and that's more a seaweed cost than an org solve cost. You know what? Given that my seaweed is free, why don't I make it this way? Like, if I have extra seaweed, why don't we make fatty acids that way? Sorry, I guess I'm just in a thinking mood this morning, because we're just looking at stuff. Because this is making up to 36 seaweed at the cost of only, I don't even know, it's not that much power. How much power is all this? This is only 30 megawatts. And if we're not using that seaweed, we could be making fatty acids with it instead. And the hot air cost is real for the fatty acids, but it's not massive. And we're going to be improving our hot air build soon. Yeah, that's actually pretty early on in Kimsai. So once we have more hot air, that'll be even less of a concern. And that gets us some free fatty acids, which I know we have been using. Wow. That's actually more than I thought. 5 a second. Okay. But that's only 5 seaweed a second, right? If you think about it that way. So I'm actually still convinced that this is worth doing. I'm gonna put that on our list for like way later. I should have put it at the bottom. I'm convinced that's worth doing. So back to this. That'll use up some organic solvent, but probably still very small amounts overall. Because I'm going to be flowing through a huge amount of org solve here for ammonia. So, I mean, this, I'm going to say like 400 ammonia is what we build this to. You know what I mean? And phenol, we've used up to 1.5 a second. So I want to well overproduce that. Yeah, I think this would be enough. 33 a second. This should do it in terms of the size of the build. I may even make this a 3-4 beacon. It's always hard to know what's worth it. Like, that would cost 90 more megawatts. Oh, shoot. I have the wrong selection here. Beacon by factory would be 0.05, basically. Oh, it changes the defaults when you change the beacon. That's very annoying. Given that I've only got one of these and each of these buildings consumes 60 megawatts, I think it's cheaper to do the upgrade if it saves us 2 buildings. It probably does. And that can affect other buildings too. So we'll go with it. Anyway, what was I wanting to do? Oh yeah, just do the this thing. So that uses up the org solve. No reason to not throw those in there. And the olefins, we already know this will be a separate plant somewhere, but these are going to come from aromatics. We'll have a huge olefins plant somewhere at some point. And then the aromatics, let me just real quick look again. Where did these come from? So tar, the aromatics is a potential way to do it if we can get huge amounts of tar, which will be more possible once I have beacons and tier 2 buildings. A lot of it comes from light oil, and the rest probably comes from tailings. Those are kind of the main 3 sources. There's also the olefins loop if I'm willing to spend Nexalit, which I don't think I am yet, but at tier 2 productivity modules and tier 3 buildings, it might become a better loop. Because you can see here, we only net, what is that, 120 olefins for 5 Nexalit plates. That's not going to be worth it at this stage in the game. But it is an option, right? Like, that's totally free. That's just Nexalit to olefins directly. So that is an option. But yeah, for now, until we have a better prod ratio, it's probably going to be tar, or is lignin ever going to be a way to do it? There's also this one, the oleochem and syngas that we were looking at that one time. Because don't we get super cheap oleochem? We do if we do this turd for sporopollenin. Because that can be prodded, this can be prodded, which then brings us down to only 231 ref syngas. Doesn't ref syngas even have a cheap way to make it? Or are we already making it the cheap way? It has the chromium and petroleum way. Is that cheap? I mean, in a sense, we're going to be getting petroleum out from this, from all the methanol we make. And chromium will be cheap once we have molten chromium. So yeah, actually, that's relatively cheap. But there's also this one. 1 chromium for 50 versus 5 chromium for 350. Affected by prod and not affected by prod. So this one's definitely better, because we also get tar out. There's also just the classic syngas and methanol version, though. which we would be using some of the methanol we make, but that's fine. There's always that version too. Anyway, I'm not gonna worry about this ref syngas right now. The sporopollenin, once we have the turd, we would need the botospores, but then the botospores aren't free. So how much ridge dust are we talking here? Basically none. Okay. And just a few of these buildings. Okay. This is all feeling doable, right? Like, that's a reasonable way to make aromatics if we're running out of other ways to make aromatics. It's so weird that oleochemicals, my worst enemy, could be a way to make aromatics, but that's long in the future. For now, that's not a thing. For now, aromatics are going to have to come from light oil, tar, which we haven't even done that recipe yet, but we totally could with excess tar. But most of it's going to come from light oil. I guess we could use excess naphthalene to make aromatics. I haven't been doing that, but I could. And then tailings give us cold water slurry. So, and I've looked into tailings. There is not an easy way to make tailings directly. Tailings is always going to be a byproduct. So I can sort of rely on it, but I can't fully lean on getting the amount we want, potentially. Now I want to look into lignin. How bad is this? It's pretty bad. Ooh, fiber and sodium hydroxide. That might be worth it once we have really, really good fiber later, but for now, this seems like a bad recipe. With prod, this could become reasonable. But even with tier 2 and prod 1 modules, this is still a lot of wood. Though it's not as bad as I originally thought. So if I apply that slight speed beacon to everything, 32 wood and 10 hydroxide for 600 aromatics. That's not that bad. Given how much aromatics that is. Okay, I mean, that's... Alright, I just wanted to look into that. Anyway, this is something we will build out eventually. I don't know when. It even needs a new recipe for it. And a new recipe there, so... I guess we should start on the crude oil. So the first question is, when do we get oil derrick? Are they called derricks? Yeah, we want the... Is it this one? Medium oil derrick. Or is that not the right one? I think that's what it is. Yeah. So that's 2 Chem Sci researches in. The reason I was looking into that is if we pop open a bitumen seep with the Mark 1 derrick, it won't have as much crude oil total. So I was thinking we could use the Mark 2, but we're a ways away from that. Yeah, it is the medium oil derrick. So then the next question would be drilling fluid Mark 2. I guess I'll just... You know, I thought I alt-clicked on that. Okay, so drilling fluid type 2 will give us a lot more crude in the long run, but that's not unlocked until ChemSci either. And weren't there 3 variables? The tier of the building, the tier of the drilling fluid. What am I missing? Oh, a random number. Okay, those are the only... Never mind. Alright, so I need natural gas derricks then. Or, not natural gas derricks. Crude oil derricks. Oil derrick. Small oil derrick 1. That's not where we put it. Put it in the oily stuff. And wasn't there something that gave me crude oil? Yeah, it's tailings. Wait. And this gives aromatics to olefins? Hold on. This gives aromatics to olefins. And don't we have olefins to aromat? No, that one needs Nexilate. Wait, so there's 2 ways to go olefins to aromatics? Because we already had a loop going there. Yeah, 300 aromatics to 250 olefins. 200 aromatics to 200 olefins, but obviously you need the tailings too. This is more about tailings to crude oil than anything else. It's just funny, there's 2 ways to convert aromatic. Yeah, tailings to crude oil is basically a way to do it. How many tailings have I been going through? Just for reference, I meant to look at that a second ago. I mean, we go through a lot. And it's been pretty consistent, right? Because metals consumption and production is pretty consistent. So we're looking at 50,000 a minute. I mean, that's a lot, right? Like, what is that per second? That's 800 a second tailings, which means if I wanted to, we could just turn that into 400 crude oil. But I think for now, we'd rather have the benzene because I don't have a good way to make benzene. So I think we will pop into these bitumen seeps with just drilling fluid 1 for now. I'm gonna pop into these 2 because I just don't think 1 is gonna be enough. And then we'll find that blueprint. Oh, I guess we need the oil derrick. Derrick? Small oil derrick. Oh, he's so tiny! Are the other ones bigger? They are bigger. Is that true for tar extractors? No. Interesting. Interesting. The oil derricks get bigger, but the other ones don't. Yeah, the nat gas and the tar are all the same size, but the oil derricks change size. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, plop that there, plop that there. And then we will get the drilling fluid going. I don't know, we'll just pop that there. We can reroute the drilling fluid. Pop that there. I assume it'll connect somewhere on the side. Okay, and then we're gonna need a station for the crude. You know, I could process the crude right here as well. So I guess we'll have to decide what we do with that. But yeah, let's put a strong side station here. And then that is gonna jack up what I just did with everything else. Okay, get power there. This one has power connected. Okay. All right, so that's the beginning of our crude oil build, which we already made, roughly. Let me just look through this real quick. So, crude oil, the distillates or condensates get shipped out, and this is mainly a crude oil and distillates processing facility. So we're also going to want a requester for all of the distillates that come from other places. So this will be the primary place we do all distillates processing. And we're going to need tin chromium and titanium tetrachloride. So that is something I can work on right now. So tin chromium is, I'm just assuming made with smelters. If I'm wrong about that, I'll eat a shoe. Okay, good. I don't have to eat shoes. Thank God. Gonna start with 3 of these. I don't think I'm gonna need much more than that in the long run, just because of modules and stuff. Because these can be affected by speed and efficiency, so between beacons and everything else, we should be fine. We are already requesting chromium, but not 10. So I think it's time for another requester here. Definitely going to be a bigger requester, though. And this one will be for 10 plates. 30. The chromium request can be bumped up a couple stacks. Again. Hold up. Oh, there we go. I was going to say, am I not even using chromium? This is a problem, though. How am I going to get more chromium out of this? Okay, here we go, here we go. That power pole goes there. That means I can remove this one. Which means I can get more chromium on this belt, is what I wanted to do. Why don't I pre-configure that so then I can paste it over right there. Nope, just kidding. Undo again, because this needs to be filtered on chromium. There we go. Then we can paste it right there. Okay, so now this chromium belt will have more chromium available, which will allow... Oh, no, that doesn't work. This is all just kind of not right. How do I get... I'm gonna have to do one of these weirdnesses. Bring chromium up here. That's fine, I guess. Alright, and you're gonna be 10 plate. On the... doesn't matter what side, not really, because we're just gonna do one of these classics. Across the front. Fast inserter to support speed beaconing later. And the output, I doubt, is gonna get to fast inserter levels. In fact, the input's twice as many items, so it can't. Alright. And then we've got our tin chromium alloy. So that's done, and then the other one, can we make... do we make in here? What's the other one that we're even talking about? I also need iron nexlet. I could make that now. What's the other thing, though? Oh, the titanium tetrachloride. That's right. I do think I want to make that here. It feels like a similar type of item. But yeah, let's see if we can do the nexlet antimony alloy. That's just Nex and antimony. Neither of which are on that side. Have I not brought antimony here yet? Or nexlet? Now that's weird, but also true. So this is gonna be a painful... gonna be a painful one. Can I fit 3 of these if I'm ambitious? Not really. It's too ambitious. There's not enough space for the belt there. Okay, I am gonna bring nexlet into this one, which is just gonna ruin my base for longer. So, should I wait on that? I might wait on that. Antimony oxide. I'm gonna make this request bigger because this one's eventually going to fuel the other antimony oxide alloys. This is where we will make all the alloys eventually. So then this will be filtered on antimony oxide. Oh no, I have to go soon. This episode can't be a super long one, sadly. Excellent plate. Spacing on this? I don't actually This should be about right for that eventually. And then maybe I do another provider again so as to not have too much crazy traffic here. So let's see, parameter, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, so 3 can be the special alloy, excellent antimony alloy, and one will be the tin chromium alloy, and the titanium tetrachloride. Tin chromium, 2,000. It's expensive, but sure. Titanium tetrachloride, probably want more than that. And the Nexalit special, I don't even know. Let's start with 1,000. Because that stuff is not cheap. It's triple dense Nexalit. Not looking forward to trying to afford that one. Need to mortgage my whole base for that. Okay, merge this, and then the tin chromium is pretty much done, except we're out of tin still, which is a little interesting, but I guess it's true. But yeah, tin chromium's done and ready to go. I just need an underground here. And then this is this belt. So that's literally done. And then finally, titanium tetrachloride is made in a what? High pressure furnace. Coal dust, chlorine, and titanium. Okay. And no prod on that either. Okay, am I going crazy? I'm not. Look. 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 It rotated itself. Control C, click, drag. It rotated itself. What? What? Guys? The building is rotating itself. What is happening? Every time I highlight... Oh, look at this. Every time I highlight the building with this blueprint, it rotates. What bug have I found? What is this? I wonder what's going on there. If anyone has any idea, let me know in the comments, because that's the weirdest thing I've seen all day. No idea what's going on there. Anyway, coal dust is used 3 times as much as titanium, so we're probably going to do a 2-belt situation here for the eventuality of beacons helping this out. Is there enough space for beacons here? Plus the belts? Yeah, we should be okay. Titanium comes in, TCL goes out. I'm just calling it TCL because that's easier to say. And then this is going to have a coal dust request that's quite large. And then, do we request titanium here as well? I think we already have it, right? Yeah, it's already down here. But it's on the wrong side. So I could reroute it around. Yeah, I'll probably just reroute it around. We can turn this into a red belt and a red loader at some point. Where's the easiest spot to do this? Probably here, but then the titanium can go out that way, but then we can't do that. Actually, we can do... Yeah, it'll... Wow, this is the first time I've ever done this, I think. That's so... Wait, I don't need that then. I can just do that. That's why I've never done that, is it's not necessary. But it's kind of... Technically, it would save me more aluminum to do it that way. Because now we're going to buffer a little bit of wasted aluminum there. That's really funny. And now, given that this... Uh-oh. Now that's a big whoopsie. Oh, crap. Oh, no. How did hydrogen chloride get in my fluid fuel? I'm just gonna start here. But I'm really scared. What just happened? How did pressurized oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. That's really bad, guys. This still has... Are we not... Wow, I'm doing 50 a second. Okay. Interesting. I actually do need more than 3 of these. Here, I'm just gonna make this easy on myself. Leave room for a beacon later. I'm gonna use a red underground. I don't have time for this. We have a bigger issue to fry, which I might not even be able to fix in this episode. I really do mean it when I say I'm running out of time. I have a lunch to get to, so I can only take so much time here. Let's at least get a little bit more blood to urea processing going here, which means I need to connect the blood to this, and the fuel's done, and that just merged. Okay, that's good to go. So how... This is really bad, because I'm gonna have to look at every single provider station here. How did a train end up with the wrong thing? No. Oh, no, no, no. This is so bad. I don't have to worry about the requesters, at least. I don't think it's that one. These are the OGs. Are these in order that I've built them? That actually could be handy, because then it's more likely it's these ones at the end. There's no HCl anywhere near here, so it's not these. So where is it then? Oh gosh. What can I do? Control click, shift click. That's what we want. It's not the cog. Could it be the request that's screwed up? I mean, it's so hard to tell but there's no HCl near here. There's chlorine, but not HCl. That's one we just looked at. No HCl near here. Those two go together. Alright, I'm actually confused. Which one could it be? Could it be you? No, there's no HCl over here. I don't think. That's the benzene. Heavy oil from bitumen, BTX fueling. Again, with there's not even HCl in the vicinity. This one could have HCl near it. But it doesn't, I don't think. There's, again, only chlorine. Speed up this. Well, we seem to be confused here. Oh. How did BTX get on this? Oh, that's stealing fuel from... Because these are now fueled from the trains, I think. Is that true? That pump is up, so not that one. This pump, though, is coming from trains. Yeah, so... Hold on, we got issues. So we should not be pumping towards whatever this is. Okay, whatever's going on here, nix it. Not important. That was our acetylene provider, though. So that now is an issue, I think. So where's that going now? Yeah, see, that's not... Okay, hold on. Oh, gosh. This isn't even the issue we came here to fix. This is bad. I'm at a complete loss for how this issue has occurred, which is a very bad thing. How did hydrogen chloride get into... You know what? I need a Occam's razor this. The simplest answer would actually be a far more local answer. So let me look into more local possibilities first. Anyway, there's... Wait, this is acetylene provided as fluid fuel. I guess that's still what we want, right? Just a low priority. Yeah, we'll just low priority that, but that's fine. Because this is already byproduct acetylene, I think. Well, no, not the way I have it set up here. I guess we need this to be like an overflow, and then it will be. Okay. Make sure we're using it for lead first. I should have a bunch of lead, though. The problem is I'm not requesting lead. Because remember, we're making it from soot in the bitumen area. So I should be requesting that lead. Anyway, that's, again, separate topic. So in the smelting area, we somehow got HCl. And I think I figured it out. Yeah, okay. Okay, everything's fine. I was freaking out. You guys noticed this when I built it, but I didn't. So Krydax did the thing where he didn't properly cap his connections when near another block. And it finally bit me in the butt when I didn't pay attention to it. So there you go. Always pay attention to capping your fluid connections, folks. Might save your life. And what's funny is I did cap most of these. I just didn't cap those two. No cap. Well, that's a thing the kids are saying, I think. How do you do, fellow kids? Okay, so back to finishing this, and then we'll call it an episode. Alright, so power. Let's learn our lesson and use a capped connection here. Whew, sudden sneeze came over me. Okay. Chlorine request. Can be this guy. Chlorine. Chlorine. Share 75K. And then that goes up. Over. Coal dust. Needs to be filtered and brought over. What? Did I accidentally hit the like rotate a belt hotkey, or did I just actually build that backwards? Kind of uncertain about that. Okay, I think I want to go underground right here. This feels like a good spot to come across. And up. And over. And then we've got an inserter feeding in and out. And we copy that across. And I think that does it. And we already set up TCL to be on this side of the belt, so that's perfect. Cool. All right, TCL and TCA are done. Tin chromium alloy, titanium tetrachloride. The coal dust is done. The titanium is done, and that is the chlorine, which is waiting for the pipes and will be done. There it is. Perfect. And we did wire them up, so that should be measured properly. Okay. And the chlorine is connected. All right, so in mere moments, we should have TCL being produced, and that will allow for all of the distillates processing. And we've needed both of these for a while, so this was very necessary. And we've got Nextlet antimony alloy mostly ready to go. We just need the Nextlet, which I'm not quite ready to request yet, because I imagine it is still in very short supply. Yep, request. Actually, there's a provider. Oh, it must have just gotten to 2,000. Yeah, that's, yep, there it is. Disappearing immediately. Going to advanced small parts input. There's this requester, which is fully hungry. There's our science one, which is fully hungry. What's this one? Why don't we name this one whatever it is? Oh, yeah. What are we gonna call this? Sam? Yeah, Sam request. Sam provide. Sam giveth and Sam taketh away. Okay. I guess this is organic acid anhydride. Calling that OAA. But yeah, here's the, or was it processed fatty acids? No, it is just fatty acids come from the seaweed org-solve version. Okay, cool. Well, I think we will have to call it an episode there, unfortunately. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.